Gentlemen and friends, the Baltimore Ravens.
Johnny Unitas needs 17 more to break Kittle's record as the all-time passer in the National Football League.
We all know that Lamar Jackson has serious star power. The Ravens have the best record in the league. He has a top selling.
Zappy. Oh, a big foul touchdown. My goodness. Michael Pierce.
The Baltimore Ravens select Lamar Jackson.
There it is. Wow. This is the instincts. The God-given gives the awareness to go beat him to the punt.
Yo. We're back. It's another Thursday, so that means Black Wing Playbook is back on your computer screen, your TV screen, your iPhone, Android screen. And I'm here with the usual suspects, Coach War.
What up? Hey, some of y'all in the bathroom on your break watching it on your phone. Don't get fired. You can watch it. You can watch it after we go off the air.
And then we get that's crazy. And then we got Big Mike. What's up, Mike?
Yo, look, I was just informed. My old university, Sanford, we got some D-line coaches out there. Y'all might need to call somebody. They got a vacancy. So interesting little situation that just came across my dang phone.
Oh, that is crazy. You just found it out like just now?
Yeah, somebody just quit. So
hey.
Yeah.
So you on your way?
Certainly not. I left there first. I ain't going back.
He said I ain't going back. Hey, Stanford just found out just now that he ain't coming back. Just now. We just found out. Anyway, Big Mike said, listen, he retired, but he ain't retired. He got other stuff going on. So can't help you from that standpoint. But would love to make a reference or a referral to somebody who might be willing to go take that job. Coach, I know you looking to go back down south. Is that right?
What that relocation assistance looking like?
Might not be enough for you, Coach. It's D1AA now.
Oh no, we good. I'm good. I'm gonna hang out here. I'm good. I'm gonna hang out here. Because look, hey, I got 2 cars now, so I'm gonna hang out here.
So you liking it in Colorado, huh?
Yeah. That relocation assistance gotta look good for me. So hey,
that's a fact, man. Relocation, it's expensive out here, man. Inflation is killing everybody. Prices are up. Right. You know what I'm saying? And the salaries ain't going up with it.
Right. Hey, don't tell nobody, but I've been stealing kids' bicycles that they leave outside and taking them to the pawn shop.
You the one, huh? You the reason why all the kids looking for their bike in the neighborhood.
I got about 4 of them last week, man. You know what I'm saying? That's a full tank right there for me for 1 car. I'm good.
Hey, yo, that's funny. You the reason why them kids out there talking about, hey, they stole my bike last week. They think it's other kids. The whole time it's Coach.
Right.
They got him doing the Leonardo DiCaprio meme, the pointing like, it was him. He the one. Right. Anyway, y'all, welcome to the show. So today we're going to touch on some things we didn't get a chance to touch on last week, which was OTAs, obviously giving you guys our opinions of our thoughts of what happened during OTAs. We're going to talk a little bit about the outlook on the season as the team is on a break before training camp, and just talk about, what we think when it comes to, who's the Ravens' biggest threat this year when it comes to the division, when it comes to the conference, which teams stand in their way, or is that team themselves? So let's start right there. Coach, I'll go to you. So Lamar Jackson has been present for all OTAs, the majority, especially mandatory, right? He even showed up for the voluntary stuff as well. What's your thoughts on that, man? I know a lot of fans out there were, interested if he was going to show up or not. We all kind of said it before that we thought he should, and that he probably would, because it's a new coach, right? New staff, new offensive system. I mean, it would have made no sense for him not to show up. So what's your thoughts on the coach?
I love it, man. The other thing I like about it is how his ego, if he had one, was immediately checked, right? Because I know there's some people trying to stir the pot saying, his offensive coordinator is the same age as him and that type of deal. Like, hey, it's gonna be kind of rough. And we've seen him every time we've seen him talking. It's always been about, hey, look, I'm trying to move forward in this whole process and be available and be a sponge, and then also continue to lead this team as well. And I think for me, by him doing that, that reassured me of who Lamar Jackson really is versus what the media at times try to portray him to be. So it was really refreshing for me to see him out there and leading from the front.
Yes, sir. Mike, how important was it, in your opinion, that Lamar showed up for these organized team activities?
I think it's very important. Just from the standpoint of, like Coach said, we got a new staff. Had we kept saying, if we'd changed head coaches and not offensive coordinators or something like that, I probably wouldn't have cared too much. But just because we got a completely new system, you're not really starting from any level of like rapport versus like, because of like the routes gonna change, the concepts, the verbiage, all that kind of stuff that actually matters is gonna change. So the fact that we got obviously a new head coach, but also more importantly for him, a new offensive coordinator, him being there, him getting those reps with Bate and everybody else, Zay and Mark and everybody else, it matters a ton. Just because you can't really start that stuff from a 3-day mini camp and then go into camp, you drastically behind. If Super Bowl is the goal, right? So, and that's what Lamar's been consistent about, even the day he was drafted. So, I think it was huge, man. Just not starting from scratch so late in the football year for us as pros, you know what I mean, is huge. And I think obviously he made the right decision.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree 100%. I agree 100%. I think when you think about what this team is trying to embark on, it was. I mean, he has to be there, right? Like the team goes as he goes. We all agree that the Ravens are only going to go as far as Lamar Jackson will take them, and if he's not there, that ceiling is significantly smaller, right? And in my opinion, that man right there on your screen is pivotal, right? Him staying healthy, number one, throughout the season is going to determine a lot. But then also him getting down his rapport with his new coach, right? The verbiage of the playbook, right? It's a whole new system, a system that he's never been in before. So, learning that as well. And then there's some new receivers being added to the fold. We got a couple of rookies coming in, getting that down, working with some of the receivers who've already been there. So I thought it was vital and important. And it's good to see that he was there and engaged and locked in. And it looks like him and Declan Doyle are kind of hitting it off. So that's what you want to see anyway. So that's good. So, Mike, I'm going to come back to you. Speaking of wide receivers, a guy who was consistently missing from OTAs, Rashad Bateman, how big is that, in your opinion, that he wasn't there a lot for the mandatory stuff and even some of the voluntary stuff?
I mean, it would be insane for me to say it's not a big deal just because I made that whole spiel about Lamar, right? So, right. This isn't good. Like I said, I know Bate very lightly. Obviously, I don't know his aptitude for offense per se, but right. I think just because of the position of quarterback, you definitely have to be more doubting because you're responsible for everybody versus, being a receiver, you're more responsible for yourself. The concepts may change, but I mean, like, I don't know how many different ways you can run, a post, a curl, all that kind of drag shallows, all that kind of stuff. But like I said, one would hope that like I said, even if you're not there, you can have a playbook. I know he was there. I've seen a couple videos. I don't know how much he's been there. Obviously, we would be more comfortable if you were there more often than not. But no. I don't think it's a great sign. But at the same time, like I said, I don't know his contract situation, what he's trying to do. I'm sure that there's probably some kind of reason that we may not know that he's not there. But like I said, for that to be potentially his last year there.
Yeah.
I don't feel like it's great for, your long-term perspectives, but like I said, he might go out there and have a great year. So at the same time, I want to leave the option open for, obviously it's optional for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, I just hope he has the playbook down first and foremost, and then, you got to hope for that chemistry because that's all it is between, receiver and quarterback. So
yeah, 100%. He had a I do know that he had a kid. He had a baby apparently.
They were.
Yeah, which is why I think he was excused from some of the voluntary stuff. But then he wasn't there, if I'm not mistaken, coach, for the voluntary stuff either.
Yeah. For me, I'm echoing both of you guys' point. Okay, he wasn't there, but then does he have a playbook, or if he is there, is he watching what's been emphasized by the coaches, right? Because it's like offensive coaches want things to work a certain way because they know like, hey, look, if these things are not done these particular ways, slowly but surely those things start to affect us, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then if we can do that, we can practice on the fundamentals, and we can be disciplined. Now we can start doing things a little bit different, or we can adjust things and whatnot. And the downer for me is if had it been anybody else, offensive coordinator wise, I would be like, all right, okay, it's not too big of a deal, but it's a big deal because this offense is designed for everybody to get their fair share. It's not a, hey, look, I'm gonna target one guy 165 times in a year. It's not that, right? So with that being said, like I would want all hands on deck to maximize their chances when they get them, right? Because again, we look at the Ravens and with them taking 2 wide receivers, that shows me not only do the Ravens want to be different, the Ravens want to beat you in a multiple type of ways. Like there may be some times where we say, hey, look, Derrick Henry, you're gonna get 15 carries, and those 15 carries is to basically take the lead and make it as big of a lead as we can, and then we putting other people in the game.
Right.
So when it comes down to this, I would love to have everybody there to get their particular chances to put the game away when they're called upon. So
yeah, 100%. I'm right there with you, man. I mean, Bateman, it's a critical season for him, regardless, right? Whether he's a Raven long term or not, this is a critical season for him, right? First round pick back in 2021, hasn't had a 1,000-yard season not once in his career. And I think he's only had double-digit touchdowns once, right? And there's a lot expected of him, right? He was given an extension, regardless of, it wasn't the biggest extension, but it was still an extension in which they gave him more money, and the expectations came with it, right? He had a subpar. I mean, I want to say subpar. He had a somewhat decent season in 24 where he played pretty well, right? He had the touchdowns. His issue was, it's consistency. Can he do it year in and year out? And can he uptick his production from a year-to-year basis? And it's like roller coaster with Bateman. It's like a semi-good year. Looks like he's trajecting up and then down and then up and then down. And then it's like, okay, they got 2 young cats coming in the draft. Tez Walker looks like he's taking a step. Zay Flowers is the clear number 1. So the clock is ticking with Bateman here. And so it's critical, and he's being criticized a little bit online, fairly or unfairly. I see he was in New York for the Knicks thing, and he fashioned and all that, but it's like fans are going to get on you when you're not at OTAs, but then you're at like New York Knicks celebration. It's like priorities right now. Again, like Mike was saying, he could have his own reasons, and those reasons could have already been discussed with the team, and they might be good with it. But it's just the optics, right? It's all about optics. The optics, it just doesn't look good when you don't show up for practice and then we see you outside. It's like when you call out of work and then your boss go on your Instagram and see you at the club and shit. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
boy in that jam in the Taylor Swift.
Mm-hmm. You said you were sick. What you in here doing a 2-step? You know what I'm saying? Right. So the optics just aren't good right now. I think this is a big year for him, for his career. Forget the Ravens' involvement. for his career. If he wants to have a bigger role with another team next year, he needs to show that he can be somewhat that guy that he was drafted to be this year. He has to take that big role because they need him to. Those I think in a perfect world, the Ravens would like to bring those 2 rookies along slow. And Bateman is going to be the person that will allow them to do that. Now, if he doesn't perform or he's injured, he's not available, then all of a sudden those rookies are getting pushed up the depth chart, and they're going to have to play a lot earlier than the Ravens probably want them to. So a lot is riding on Bateman, and so we hope that he can figure it out, and from what I'm hearing, this is people saying this is the system that fits Bateman the most that he's had since he's been in the NFL. This is a timing-based system. It's play action. This is you run your route at this point in this depth at this, at this many yards, and the ball is going to be there. We've all said this, and other experts have said that's the type of receiver Bateman is, and that's the type of offense he needs to be in. So, didn't quite work out in the Greg Roman offense. Didn't quite work out in the Monken offense. This is supposed to be the offense that fits his skill set the most. So, to me, no excuses for Bateman this year. Got to lock in. And he knows that. He knows that. I mean, he did a podcast last year where he literally said he understands the frustrations with him and he understands the expectations with him. He said when he first came in the league, he was young and he pushed back a lot because, it's just natural to defend yourself when people are criticizing you. But then as he matured as a player, he realized, you know what? To whom much is given, much is expected. And you're a first-round pick and people are going to expect things from you. If you were a fifth-round pick, they wouldn't care. You know what I'm saying? They'd be like, oh, well, if he do something, he do something. He don't. But you're a first-round pick, and then they looking at people who was drafted after you and before you in the draft, and they're saying, well, when are you going to step up? So anyway, that's it on Bateman. Thinks he needs to step up this year. That's takeaway of Bateman from OTAs. The next one I want to bring to you, Coach, is give me your own personal biggest takeaway from OTAs.
I love the fact the Ravens are using multiple targets to be highlighted. Like every other day, we're turning on the looking in to what OTA recaps, and we're seeing Tez Walker getting highlight catches. We see Elijah Surratt getting highlight catches. We seeing Lane make his mark on it. And for me, I felt like, hey, you're basically sitting here telling people, we have people that can take advantage of your defense in multiple ways, and I believe like that is going to be the key, right? We haven't seen too much of the defensive highlights or whatnot, but if you actually read up on the notes and whatnot, same thing on the defensive side. Like guys are buying in, the young guys are buying in the secondary. Same thing with the guys on the defensive front. And I'm just sitting here saying to myself, is like, if everything continues to trend the way it's trending, I'm not looking for a Hall of Fame season from a young guy, but I am looking for a contributory type of performance. So where, hey, the guy's coming in and he gets 5 sacks in the season, I believe that right there feeds into the entirety of how the Ravens season turned out. And I just believe like, hey, the Ravens are doing a good job of putting these guys out in the forefront early on to create as much game reps as they can. So,
hey, Mike, look at them boys out in the hot sun. Tell me you don't miss it.
I don't. Hey, I might miss the games, but I have yet to hear a retired person claim they miss a practice, especially in OTAs. You couldn't, man, look here. You couldn't pay me enough to go play for OTAs.
Bro. I was about to say, I was looking for footage of you in OTAs since we were going to be talking about it. Couldn't find any.
I mean, I was out there, but I mean, look, that's the T-shirt Olympics, man.
T-shirt Olympics, that ain't your thing.
So, especially for the boys in the trenches, right? And like I said, I can be a contrarian at times. I don't read too much into OTAs. No. Like I said, it's good to have attendance by your quarterbacks, obviously, especially when you have those coaching changes, having a good attendance rate. But like I said, you can take a lot more from wide receivers and DBs and OTAs because that's more so similar to what they do at practice, right?
Right.
You don't get as much jams, but they still jam and do all that kind of stuff. Linemen who sometimes look great without pads on don't tend to do so well in games. So like I said, from that standpoint, I wouldn't read too much into it. But like I said, for me, it's just about, getting those guys reps that need reps, having, Starks back there who need some reps, who, the more reps you get, the more confidence you get, the better you can play just freely, right? So having him have reps, hitting those young receivers reps with the absence of Bateman, right? Injuries happen, all kind of stuff can happen, right? So just getting guys reps. We need Tez Walker to get as many reps as he can, just because he just didn't have a ton of game reps. He's going into his third year.
Yeah,
his production is crazy, but it's very minimal, right? So the more reps he can get with the starting offense, I'm sure he wasn't running with the starting offense a ton, the first 2 years. So anytime you can get those young guys reps, get them comfortable as you can. Obviously, game comfortability is different than practice, but it's got to start somewhere. So just having good attendance. Like I said, the vets still buying in, everybody showing up majority amount of time. I think that's all you can really ask for. And then we'll draw our conclusions, as the preseason rolls, depending on who plays and that kind of stuff about the young guys. But now having good attendance, making sure the guys who need those reps, who are going to be thrust into some bigger roles and they may be accustomed to, is always a good thing. So if I put it this way, Ozzie used to say, he ain't looking for the old guys to make no plays in the spring. You better have your tail ready when that ball goes out there. First week of the game. So
man, vets love Ozzie, man, because he understands. I think it's because he was a former player. He understands, like, man, I'm gonna show up for the stuff y'all paid me for. Let's be real. Y'all paid me to show up in September, October, November, December. Y'all ain't paid me to show up in June. You ain't paid me to show up in June. Yeah, I can care less what you do in June. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So Coach, rookie wide receivers, Elijah Surratt, Jacoby Lane, in your opinion, which rookie has a bigger season? Or no, I'm sorry, I should say bigger impact on the team this year, in your opinion?
Oh, it's definitely Surratt.
Okay.
It's definitely, well, I don't want to take anything away from Lane, right? I just don't see the Ravens sitting there saying, hey, look, we're gonna throw 4 50-50 balls to a young wide receiver, right? Because let's be real, that's what he specializes in. Not saying he can't do anything else. I just don't see a lot of that. So with that being said, I also look at them playing off what their strong suit is. So if the strong suit is going to be the run game, right? I'm looking at, hey, who can be moved around, who can come out and our 12 personnel look and look the part and not be one of those guys. And because if we go 12 personnel, right, and we put a smaller wide receiver out there, most people are not worried about that smaller wide receiver, right? But if you put a bigger guy out there, now it's like, oh, wait a minute, this guy can actually block me. And then, oh yeah, by the way, this guy can actually beat me one-on-one down the field. Right. So now it's like, ooh, I don't know about this. And I just feel like his natural skill set, the catching traffic, catch radius, all that stuff plays right into what the Ravens are going to look to do when remember I was talking about closing out games or being able to conserve leads. I believe this guy is the perfect wide receiver for what the Ravens want to do. And then against all the other ones on the roster, I just believe, again, if we got a one wide receiver out there in with our double tight end sets, I believe this guy can go win those one-on-one matches relatively easy. So
it's funny that you said about Jacoby's skill set, because from what I'm hearing and what I heard today in one of the pods that he was on was that in practice they're actually using him on a lot of drag routes, a lot of across the middle routes, right? A lot of dig routes, stuff that they didn't expect to, observers didn't expect to see him. They thought he would be more of a just outside the numbers 50-50 guy. No, they're actually using him as a bigger receiver across the middle, and having him run drags and digs and stuff like that. And so I guess they're showing that he can do these things, even though he's a big receiver. And he said it himself. He's like, I'm not a one-trick pony. I'm not just a 50-50 receiver, right? I'm not just a red zone threat. I can do more things. And I think the Ravens are exploring that, which is smart, right? To explore a bigger body across the middle. That saves Zay from having to do it a lot and taking the shots that he don't necessarily need to take. Let him play on the outside with the smaller DBs where he can make them miss or You know, getting hit by a linebacker and getting hit by a DB is a different experience. You know, so I'm sure you would rather save those hits for the bigger guys who can take it and absorb it a little bit more than your smaller receiver. Mike, what you think? Which one of the rookie pass catchers you think have a bigger impact year one?
I would hope that, and I agree wholeheartedly with what Coach is saying. And if you think about it, Lamar just don't put the ball in harm's way. No. He has a low interception rate because of that, you know.
For reason.
But I would like to see us throw more 50-50 balls. But in practicality, I would think it would be Surratt. Like I said, I don't know. Like I said, the spring you kind of experiment, having folks doing stuff that you might not necessarily ask him to do, like that kind of the drag routes and all that kind of stuff. Like I said, if he can do it, like I said, the more you can do for us, bro, the better it is. I don't know how realistic that is. You know, I'm not there, obviously. And like I said, I would love him to do that, but I would like to see us throw a couple of those. You know what I mean? At least one or two a game. We just don't get that we haven't gotten that from our offenses. Which, you know, in turn, you know, your safeties get more emboldened, people start jumping routes, the windows are tighter just because we don't stretch those quadrants of the field, right? But like I said, I could definitely see it being Surratt. Like I said, I think he's the guy who can do a lot of those same things that we asking that Jacoby to do this spring. But like I said, obviously he's a big guy as well, but I could definitely see it being Surratt, but like I said, I hope we do give him the opportunity to do what he does best, along with some of the stuff that, you know, he can show as well.
I think it's going to be Lane, and the reason being is that when Isaiah Likely left, he left a certain skill set and took a certain skill set with him. Obviously, what Isaiah Likely did in the red zone, but also what he did up the seams, across the middle, you know, those kind of shallow crossers, those routes where you were able to use his size against a safety, against a linebacker. I think Jacoby Lane, I think what they did was they said, you know what, we might not be able to replace Likely with another tight end because there's not a lot of tight ends like Likely walking around, but we can replace him with a bigger receiver because that's all Likely was a big receiver. We being real, he was just a big wide receiver who was playing tight end because maybe he didn't run a fast enough 40 or maybe have not been as quick enough in terms of being a wide receiver. But I mean, that's all Likely was a big receiver. So I think Jacoby Lane is going to get a lot of that work that Likely would usually get, right? He'll occupy that space in the field. So I do think it's Jacoby. It's, you know, I think Lamar is going to enjoy having a big target like that where he can just throw it and that guy can kind of go up. I think he's gotten more comfortable when Likely first got there. Lamar, like Mike just said, Lamar was not, he don't like throwing the ball up. But remember, there was a couple of times, and I go back to that playoff game in 23 against the Texans, where I think one play where Lamar was hesitant to throw, and he threw it low, and Likely said, just throw it up. And he threw it up the next play, and Likely goes up, catches it for a touchdown. And ever since then, you notice when it came to Likely, Lamar would throw it up, give him a chance, because obviously Likely proved to him that he can be trusted. Like, if you throw it up, I'm gonna get it, right? And so Jacoby's gonna have to prove that. He's gonna have to prove that to Lamar that he can be trusted to when I throw it up, you go get it, right? It's either gonna be you or nobody, because Lamar does not like throwing interceptions and he doesn't like putting the ball in harm's way. So I do think it'll be Jacoby. So we'll see. You know, I do like Surratt. I think Surratt is a bit of a veteran for a rookie. Like, he's experienced. He was in college for a while, played on a veteran team, learned from a veteran coach. So he may come in a little bit more nuanced and a little bit more prepared to play right away. So I can see it both ways.
So let me ask you this right quick, since we're on that topic. Obviously older, he's not prime D-Hop. We ain't really seen Lamar throw up them passes D-Hop like that either. And that's what, potentially made him a Hall of Fame candidate. So I would have hoped to see more of those balls go his way. I know. As well. But
we did see it like twice. I think the week one against Buffalo, where he goes and catches it with one hand. Right. And then I think it was against Cleveland where they threw it down and he just went up and got it. But after that, you really didn't see it anymore. And I don't know I feel like D-Hop's lack of opportunities though really came from the coaches. I just felt like they just didn't put him in enough situations to be utilized. You know, it was almost like he was just there to be an extra coach or something. I don't know. D-Hop's usage was weird to me.
Yeah, it definitely was. Yeah. And one other thing you got to think too, though, a lot of them jump ball situations will likely come out of like scramble drill type stuff.
True. That's versus,
true. You know, like
that's true. He just running the route.
Plays.
Yeah, that's true.
When somebody
I wonder how good these kids will be. You know,
I
won't call them kids. Yeah, I wonder how good they'll be off script. I don't know. Because
they specialize in that.
He specializes because I know Surratt played in a rhythm and timing offense, right? Like Mendoza was a hit his back foot, ball's coming out, right? The ball's coming out before he even breaks in his route. Jacoby, I didn't watch too many of USC's games this year, so I'm not really familiar with the quarterback. I know it's Jaden Maivia, right? Was he a scrambler, coach?
Yeah, so Lane is more of an at-live type of guy, scramble drill type of deal.
I was like, I can see him doing fairly. So I don't know about the getting open part.
But. So Lane has pretty good awareness of what's going on. Like a couple steps into his routes, he realizes what's happening, and then he'll adjust on the fly. Now, how much of that the Raven work on? That's going to be the key. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, all right, man, hey, we get cover 2. These are the zone spots I need you to try and work towards. Or these are the soft spots I need you to work towards. Or it's just, hey, look, just go find grass. Go find green grass, get open. Because that's what likely would do, you know, in most of the cases, right? So we got a play going, you know, to the right or whatever. And you got to understand, like, hey, the defense is swaying to the right as to where the play's going. You just wait your time out. And then you got to, you know, get out of there and get to that open space. Because once you get to that open space, kind of like right here, now it's like, hey, it's a foot race. You know what I'm saying? And then I can tell you right now, no defensive coordinator is going to want him to be running wide open down the field. I can tell you that right now. Like some people, it's almost to the point like some people going to get fired if they let this kid right here run up and down the field. So,
right.
That's a wild celebration.
That is wild. Mike said that's a wild celebration.
That's why I said what I said. Because you know it's gonna be some kind of celebration.
Yeah, you know he's gonna be doing something crazy. But you know, Jacoby, man, he brings that juice, brings that energy. He's super young, and you know you can see it. His youthfulness, his playfulness. I think he's going to bring some good energy, positive vibes to the team. But he's a damn good receiver, though. I think like people who slept on him. Like one of the questions they asked him in the pod was, you know, playing with Mekhi Lemon, did he feel like he was overshadowed, right, when it came to the draft? And I think he was. I think a lot of people just kind of didn't talk about him that much because you know it was like Mekhi Lemon and he was like the other receiver. But if you look at it, he was just as productive. He led, I think, all wide receivers in touchdowns last year, right? Big hands. I think he measured the biggest hands at the combine. So that's going to be good, man. You know, he just got to earn that trust of Lamar, and I think they understand that, and I'm sure they're going to be working towards that. Let's switch sides a little bit, and Mike, come to you. Defense. What's your expectations for the Ravens defense this year? Do you think they get back to being the Ravens defense that we come to know and love? You know, how much of a process is it going to be? Do you think it's instant, or do you feel like it's going to be something that's going to take time to materialize?
First, I would like us to be in the top 7. Hopefully top 5, but you know, like I said, we got a whole new. I'm assuming we got a whole new system going in, right? So, like I said, with the veterans we have, I think it may be less of a learning curve because some of those guys can cover from those mistakes. You got, like Sis, you say, we got generals at every level, right? We got, you know, Beeks is back. We got him. We got Calais. Travis is another year older. Obviously, we got Rowe in the middle, and then we got Ham in the back, and then we got Marlon on the corner. So, from that standpoint, I would think the learning curve wouldn't be as steep, just because we have guys who can kind of control these rooms and keep everybody on the same page. But I think if we really shooting for the Super Bowl, Oh shoot, I didn't even mention Trey. So
Yeah.
I think we should definitely be in the top 5. But like I said, depending on how the way we talked about the schedule, theoretically we should be by midseason we should be aiming toward that route. Just because we got a couple layups in there. If everything goes away, we assume. So top 5, top 7 will give us a good chance to go where we need to go. I think we should. I think that's achievable.
Coach, thoughts on defense?
Man, being a defensive coach, this hurts. This hurts because I know a lot of people like to jump on Roquan Smith, but I think we have the D line to keep guards off of him now. And if that is the case, right, we can sit here and say, hey, look, our linebackers can fill those gaps and be disruptive, right? Because if not, right, if we're allowing linemen to get to the next level and our backers will have to fight those guys off, that's causing hesitancy, right? That's causing false steps. That's causing all kind of stuff. But I feel like now having these guys, multiple guys that can beat one-on-one matchups and then get penetration and know how to make a tackle for loss, I believe that helps the linebacker core. And they couldn't come at a better time because we don't know what's up with Buchanan. Is he going to be ready for week 1? And if he is ready for week 1, is there some kind of drop-off from the injury or whatnot? Because if he comes back and he continues to trend upward like he was, oh man, this is great. And I'm with Mike in this situation of we should have a top 5 defense, right, at a minimum, because you can't have if Beats is out there, Calais is out there, you got Trey, and you can pick whichever one you want on the other side for the defensive end, and then we're not even talking about what other packages you can run. With putting Kyle Hamilton up or close to the line of scrimmage. It's just so many different things you can do to give you an advantage to where if we're healthy, I can't see how we don't end up flirting with, if not a top 5, a top 3 defense in the league, because the last part of that is the schedule. Our strength of schedule is in the 20s right now. So we got a lot of layup games to where we can go out and make things look really, really dark for some teams early on. And we just got to make sure we handle our business within the division. So
good points, Coach. So, Mike, who's the most important player on this team not named Lamar Jackson? Who would you say is a player that's like, outside of Lamar Jackson, that player and their performance this year is going to be critical to the success of the team?
I'd say BK, just from the standpoint, if he's healthy, bro, like I said, with the supporting cast he has, it shouldn't be a better D line in the league. Right. Like I said, if Mike Green capitalized on those near sacks that Coach Weave was talking about, and it'll make it a lot easier just having Trey coming off the edge. Like I said, we get Trav back healthy. I don't know what's up with his little situation, but if Trav's healthy, we can keep those guards off Roquan. They're going to have to you ain't going to be able to just slide everything towards Trey. And then you get in those packages where you play and you can slide the young boy Zion inside a little bit and see what he can do. Like I said, we still got T-Rob, and then if we can keep Mike Green on the outside, and then, Marlon blitz as well and Kyle blitz as well, it shouldn't be, like I said, the cupboard is super far from bare, right? So
yeah, for sure.
I think that's a lot of our defensive stuff, because like I said, our 3 technique is the engine of that team, that pass rush. And then, like I said, it'll make those jobs of Nate and all those other guys a lot easier. But just because his health is up in the air, and like I said, if he can make it through a season of, like I said, I'm not sure exactly what the deal is with that, but now we can get him back. That changes everything to the old way that he was. That changes our fortunes for the better, for sure.
Yeah, that changes everything, man. I agree, Coach. What you think? That changes everything. I mean, like you just mentioned, Roquan Smith. That makes him better.
Everybody.
I don't want to go defense because Mike said defense, but I'm gonna go defense.
Okay.
I'm gonna take Kyle Hamilton. not because of the cliche, hey, he's a Swiss Army knife. I think it's because of the deceptive part of it, of where I can move this guy around to make it look like one particular thing. And now I have the guy, the ultimate defensive coordinator to do it, right? The defensive coordinator when it comes down to the pass rush and weave himself. And then I got the head coach when it comes down to the secondary piece. And I can only imagine the stuff that they want to do to make it look like pre-snap, and then post-snap they do something totally different. So for me, I think Kyle Hamilton impact and influence is gonna be key, right? Because as soon as you start to worry about Kyle Hamilton, now you got that defensive line starting to eat. Because that was the other part too, is like how we had a significant drop off is we would be forced to blitz Kyle Hamilton to get pressure. But now we don't have to do that. Now it's like, oh, wait a minute. Is he coming? Is he going? Is he staying? Is what's going on right now? Because we know, just like Coach Mike was saying, he's a good blitzer. He's an excellent blitzer, right? So if I take 2 steps upfield, I'm the quarterback. I'm thinking, hey, he coming, right? But then lo and behold, he may pull out of it and just like, oh, gotcha, just playing around with you, and then you know you're throwing interceptions. So for me, I think Kyle Hamilton is going to be the key outside of Lamar Jackson when it comes down to not just influence and impact, but forcing teams to turn the ball over. So I think that's going to be the real key.
So love all the answers. Kyle Hamilton, Beaks, obviously. But to me, this guy right here, I mean, you go out and you give him the contract you give him. You bring him in to do the one thing the Ravens have not been able to do consistently in a long time. And that's to get after the quarterback without blitzing, to be able to win on third down and get the other team's offense off the field, to be able to get Mahomes on the ground, get Josh Allen on the ground, get Joe Burrow on the ground. This guy right here is so pivotal. He might not be the best player outside of Lamar Jackson, but I think he's the most important, because if he does what we think he's going to do, then speaking of opening things up for other people, again, if he dominates the way he did a few years ago, where he is, double-digit sacks and he's, just a tear, that opens up Mike Green on the other side, right? That helps the guys rushing from the interior. That allows the DBs to be able to make plays on the ball because the ball's coming out faster because the quarterback's process is being sped up, right? So when pressure usually leads to mistakes, right? And so I think they need Trey Hendrickson to be important. They need him to be the second most important player, because if he does what they are paying him to do and why they brought him in, then he changes the dynamic of the defense that we haven't seen since Dumerville and Suggs left, which is somebody that can win one-on-one, and that someone that other teams have to chip and help their tackles, because this dude is abusing your tackles on an island one-on-one. I agree. Metabike is, you get him, that defense just goes from, very good to scary to the point where it's unfair, right? But I think Trey Hendrickson still, because we've seen the defense with Metabike without an edge rusher, and we know what that looks like. We've never seen the defense with Metabike and a real threat on the edge, and what that looks like and how that could. Kyle Van Noy, God bless him, he's done this. He did his best, and he had 2 seasons of double-digit sacks, and they definitely appreciate that. But we haven't had anything like Trey Hendrickson, on this team in a long time, right? And so if he can do what he does and Mike Green can do what we believe he's capable of doing, I think, just like you guys just say, roll call becomes more scary. Kyle Hamilton becomes more scary. Nate Wiggins all of a sudden is getting interceptions, and all those guys on the back end. So I think that's super important. What about that center position? Are you guys worried about that position? Do we feel like is that something that's like, we could just plug a guy in, and as long as he doesn't have to be great, as long as he just doesn't mess it up? Or do you guys feel like that's just like, nah, man, we got to get a guy at that position? What do you think, Coach? I see you shaking your head.
Hecky no. Hecky no. Look, listen to me. I'm a defensive coordinator at the high school level, And if I can see your center is not willing to block, I'm coming. Both A gaps is every chance I get, because I want to make him make a decision. And then most of the times, if the kid is not there, he's not going to block anybody. So I'm immediately got pressure on your quarterback. So that center position is vital. I'm talking about, like, hey, think about it. We got a D tackle right here.
He not worried about me. They got Dexter Lawrence across the way.
Oh yeah, twice a season.
So just imagine if we can't block, or we can't get the right calls, or we mess up protection, and then lo and behold, we start having snap issues. That derails everything that we're trying to build on. So I think we got to get this right. We got to do our due diligence, right? Hopefully that guy's already on the roster, because I've seen some people are saying, hey, you know what? Wait till the final set or the second set of cuts come out and whatnot, and then go from there. I just feel like you're chancing it a lot in that situation, right? The other part about it is, I do like the fact that we have Ledford on the staff, Coach Ledford on the staff. So if there was a person to do it, or a coach that I would be cool with doing it, and I think that, hey, he's more than capable of doing it, I think Ledford is the guy, right? The other reassurance is he got some of his guys, right? The Gwynns, those are key guys to get, because now we're sitting here saying, okay, look, these guys know how I teach things. These guys know how I want things ran, so forth and so on. And then, okay, this could end up being one of my guys, and I don't have to reinvent the wheel to do it, if that makes sense to you guys.
Yep. Mike, your thoughts?
First off, ain't nobody dispensing no starting level center after the cuts. My hopes are not high.
You ain't gonna just find one on the street.
If we need to trade a dang future 4th round or 3rd round pick, I wouldn't even blink an eye. Just
is that important?
We need to put some. If we were gonna push chips in for Max Crosby and Trey, we need to do some pushing some chips in, because to have a rookie, which we all believe in our guy, his name escapes me, Vega.
Vega.
They have a rookie guard.
Yeah.
And an inexperienced center is a rough combination if you're trying to go to the Super Bowl, right? Like Coach said, for all those kind of reasons, we got to deal with Cam Hayward twice. We got to deal with Malik Collins twice, even though Myles Garrett gone, he don't rush an A gap. Malik Collins, people happen not to understand. Holmes is cold. Obviously Dexter Lawrence, Cam Hayward, the list can go on. We got some solid D tackles in there, and when they figure out they can single guys up and start putting in different packages that makes you go 5-0, and the most direct route to the quarterback is from the center position because it's a straight line. That could be very dangerous. And like I said, obviously rookies at guard are gonna have rookie mistakes. Like I said, he might end up being a Hall of Famer, which we hope for, right? But definitely just leaving somebody on the island, especially if they're going to slide and make all those calls. I wouldn't mind, we need to burn a 4th round draft choice to make sure we get a start in there for a trade or something. Somebody that's proven. I think that would be the last piece for our offense. So, obviously those guys are in control of, those different combos and all that stuff. Derrick Henry relies on these people. God forbid we have snap issues. Y'all remember how y'all acted when Matt Skura was having snap issues, and that's my man. So we can't have none of that stuff. And so, like I said, we'll see how this stuff plays out in the preseason, but that is a very, very big concern for me. That's probably my biggest concern, quite honestly.
Yeah. It's probably not being discussed enough, huh? Coach, what you think?
No, it's definitely not being discussed as it should be. Like most people are in love with like the sexy positions, the wide receiver room, the DBs, the pass rush. But I'm being honest with you, man. If you can't snap and you can't protect your quarterback, hey man, you can't even play. You might as well just get on the ball back. I'm being honest. Look, we get the ball, we run a dive plays, get our half a yard. And then we plan on 4th down. That's what you might as well do. because the other thing is, the reason why it's not been talked about, I think the reason why it's not been talked about as much is because we haven't seen them go against another team yet. So people just think you can put anybody there and it'll be okay. I don't believe that. I do not believe that. Like you got to make sure, like, hey, that is tight, because that exchange, we see what that exchange was about. In fact, we had, I don't want to say it, we had somebody step on our quarterback. So think about that, right? Those things matter when it comes down to, you got to make sure you get that thing right, because if you don't, all the stuff that we're talking about is null and void offensively.
Centers are like punters and field goal kickers, not named, big name field goal kickers. You don't notice something is wrong until it go drastically wrong, and it continues to go
right.
So,
right.
You don't even know their name until they make a mistake.
Right. Yeah. And as a lineman, you probably rather remain nameless until you get to the Pro Bowl. So what folks don't realize, and like Coach was saying, your center is the quarterback of your offensive line. Yeah. Obviously, Lamar can make checks, but normally your center is responsible for IDing mics and moving everybody. He moves the chess pieces, right? So run protections. If you get a look that we weren't game planning for, we're gonna sort this out this way. When that stuff goes wrong, it don't seem like as we talking, it don't seem. I'm saying for the fans, obviously, y'all know, it doesn't seem like that's a big deal. You let the wrong person, like you miss ID a mic, or you don't account for Rowe or somebody like that, or a big time game changer, and bad things happen super fast, right? Yeah. So I think we get in those positions where, like, we probably took Marshall Yonder for granted, how we may have taken Tyler Linderbaum for granted. That's why I brought up the Skira situation, right? We ain't really worried about Linderbaum because he was doing a stellar job, right? And when we saw snap issues and we saw all these different things from prior players, folks was all up in the uproar. But like I said, thankfully we've been drafting well. So like I said, I know we know what decent center play looks like. Like I said, hopefully we got that on the roster. If we don't, we don't need a situation like we was tackling my man from last year each and every week, because that's going to be hard to watch.
Mike, I have a question for you. Were you there? Were you there during Linderbaum's rookie season? Okay. How was he as a rookie? Like in early on training camp? Like, was he pretty good straight out the gate, or?
Yep. Hold on 1 second. Hey, back. Sorry, my wife decides to watch a documentary in the middle of the podcast. We got TV in our room, man. Anywho, no. Holmes was smooth, bro. You could tell that he was still figuring it out. He's a smaller center. Okay. So, dealing with me and Trav and, big guys kind of gave him fits at the beginning of camp. But, he started to figure out things. And then, like I said, he just starts figuring stuff out really quickly, and he was solid. But he got a wrestling background. Holmes, he a dog, bro. Yeah. And like I said,
so it was pretty evident early, that he was going to be good. He was going to be all right.
Yeah, no, you could tell. Like I said, he got elite footwork. I can't just compare him to Marshall Yonder because he's a Hall of Famer. Yeah. But he on a decent trajectory himself, right? So he got good feet. Like I said, he got dog in him. And sometimes when your technique is really good and you have those wrestling backgrounds, you can kind of make up for what you may lack in sheer girth or weight or whatever you may be. So Holmes, we knew he was nice. We kind of threw him around a little bit, but then, like I said, he started to refine his technique and all that stuff. And like I said, he ain't really had too many problems in the season. Because like I said, when you don't hear Harvs or anybody calling out the name of the center, they're doing a pretty decent job. So Holmes, we knew he was gonna be smooth.
Yeah, no doubt. Linderbaum was, he was All-American in college for a reason, So, you get drafted in the first round as a center is because you're really, really good. Because that's a position that usually doesn't go in the first round, right? So if you get drafted as a center in the first round, that says a lot.
More all the reason why I don't know why we didn't extend him earlier, but that's another topic for another day. Hopefully, we don't have to regret this.
Man, I thought they would have learned that lesson with Lamar, but listen, I'm not a GM, and I don't run a team, but I just, Ozzy's theory used to be always I'd rather pay him a year early than a year late, and I'd rather let him go a year early than a year late. You know, I'd rather let you, you know, even if you got another year left in you, we'd rather let you go a year early. That way you can go and, you know, catch on with another team and do whatever, than a year late where the player is kind of falling off the cliff and you held on for another season, and now, you know, the player's really no good to you. So we'll see, man, what the options are. I see 410 Byron says if the center position is still in limbo heading into training camp or into the regular season, I would offer a 4th round pick to Chicago for a 31-year-old Garrett Bradbury, who just got traded there this offseason from New England, but Chicago also drafted Logan Jones from Iowa. So that could make, and they drafted him in the 2nd round, by the way, so that could make Bradbury expendable. So that's something to keep an eye on. But I mean, they can still use him though. Like, I mean, he, you know, you maybe don't want to start the rookie right away. No, on Bradbury or no on Chicago
on the internet, but yeah,
okay,
that's not what that's probably not. No, I wouldn't do 4th round. No, not for
no 4th, huh?
Not
for no 4th. No. Okay, all right. Well, that brings us to next topic, last topic. Coach, I'm coming to you. Who is the biggest threat to the Ravens in the division this year? What team poses the biggest threat to the Ravens getting back to the top and winning the AFC North division? They lost the division by 1 game last season, losing that final game of the season to the Steelers. Steelers win the division, get the playoff spot. The Ravens, to get back to that number 1 spot, right, to win the division again, what team poses the biggest threat, in your opinion?
I mean, they're not the biggest threat. We got to get back on Pittsburgh. Like, we have to. Like them sweeping us the way they did with some controversy in there. For me, if I'm on the roster playing with the Ravens or a staff member or whatever it may be, both of those games are circled, right? However, I think the biggest threat for the division would be the Bengals, because if the Bengals truly address their defense like we've seen they've done on paper and through transactions, and if those guys turn out to be anywhere near where they have been in the past, and it's a mixture of veterans and young guys, and if they all gel, now we're sitting here saying, hey, look, they don't have to score 40 points to beat people, right? And we know, like, hey, and look, Joe Burrow, yes, he can go throw 40, 50 passes a game. But imagine if he can throw 25 and blow you out by 20 points or beat you by 20 points, right? If he can have that small of a load for so many weeks in, when it comes down to his passing attempts, I just feel that it's going to set them up if they get into the playoffs. Now he's that much more fresh. So I'd say the Bengals will be our biggest threat for the division. So,
okay, Mike, what you think? Who's the biggest threat to the Ravens in that division this year?
I don't think it could be nobody else but the Bengals, bro. For all the reasons that Coach laid out, man. Joe Burrow scares me. Like I said, if their defense is worth anything, they probably won that Super Bowl back then. Yeah, now Holmes is, like I said, he one of them ones. And like I said, for many reasons, they offensive line couldn't block nobody for the longest. He one of the few people I can say who deserves outside the injury stuff. Holmes had some excuses why they weren't winning, but it wasn't never for his lack of stellar play, from my estimation, right? But now if their defense is much improved with the weapons they have, it's 100% there. I don't know what the Steelers got going on. You know, they got a new coach. I don't know what they got going on. One of my former homies, Big Oos, is the D-line coach, so I'm rooting for them outside them 2 games. But, yeah, I'm not too worried about Aaron Rodgers. If we got our top 5, top 7 defense where it's supposed to be, I would be shocked. We better not lose. We're not losing both games, but I don't think we need to lose. We shouldn't drop none to the Steelers this year. But no, them Bengals, that's a problem. That's gonna be
they're a problem.
That's gonna be your grudge matches. So
I mean,
I'm looking forward to it for sure.
Has Jamar Chase replaced AJ Green as the new Raven killer? You know, AJ Green had got the moniker Raven Killer, right? Because this dude had monster games against the Ravens every year, and it looks like Chase has kind of picked up where AJ left off.
And yes, he's done it because the dude has a quarter of his receiving yards for the season against the Ravens. Like, just think about that.
Mike said not too much now. He was on that team.
Like
No,
okay.
That dude, boy, look here.
He said that boy, dude.
Now, let's put context on it, right? Some of it was out of place, busted coverage, but for the most part, dude gets a slant and takes that much 70 yards right after we just scored. That stuff just don't happen by accident consistently. You know what I'm saying? So at the same time, it's like, all right, man, we got to start giving this guy a lot more attention than we've been giving him. To the point where it's like, hey, who's your third wide receiver? I want to know if you guys have been working progression to throw it to him. I'd rather him have his first and only 100-yard receiving game of the year versus Chase 7 catches, 221 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Bro, I'm like, I mean, Chase is almost video game like, right? Like when you watching him, I'm like, yo, like, because you know the Ravens, even when we not our old, smash mouth defense, we still respectable. Like you ain't just running up and down the field on our defense. And when I'm watching him do that, I'm saying like, bro, I've never seen anyone just do what they want to do on the Ravens defense ever, really. I mean, outside of AJ Green and having them crazy games he had, I think historically we did a good job against Antonio Brown. Mike, you would know, you was there. Like, yeah, AB really didn't have no monster games on the Ravens like that. Like he had some good games, but not like no 200 yards, 3 touchdowns. Like Ravens usually do a good job on star players, right? I feel like you guys circle out whoever the star player is, try to neutralize that guy and force someone else to beat you. But Chase is getting his regardless. And it started as a rookie when he took Marlon Humphrey to the woodshed in that first game. I mean, yes, we were injured that year. That was the year where all the running backs got hurt and, all that stuff. But Jesus Christ.
Marlon ain't got nothing to do with the damn secondary.
No, it had nothing. The secondary was healthy.
This dude is probably about to walk into the Hall of Fame, bro.
Yeah.
We just gotta keep it a band out here. Bro Bradley gonna be a first ballot Hall of Famer. Now AJ Green did have Andy Dalton. He didn't have a Joe Burrow.
True.
And obviously he didn't have a T. Higgins, but like I said, that's probably what Tyler Boyd gave us some fits because they had to roll the coverage to AJ. Right?
So you played against both. Who in your opinion, who was
I think AJ Green was like he was older.
Oh, he was okay. He was at
my first year was like 16. Gotcha. Yeah, he wasn't like prime AJ Green when he was trying to battle Julio.
Yeah,
nothing like that. Like
that would have been
best receivers. But now Holmes about to walk in the Hall of Fame. He don't get hurt. And like I said, I don't know why. I mean, there's only so much you can really do, like blanketing coverages. Like I said, we didn't threw the book at this dude, and he just. Like I said, we done seen Holmes take 5-yard slant. He doing like that old Odell junk when he took a 5-yard slant to the crib and ended the game. So
every time,
bro, he's a special dude, bro. And like I said, he got a great running mate and T next to him. But I think, like I said, I don't really like the Ravens killer moniker, but he deserved it, bro.
Yeah. I mean, when you have 500 and some change in one against one team. In one season, you're a killer. You know what I'm saying? Like you're a killer.
The wild part about it is I remember vividly screaming at the television, like knowing seams are open, wide open, like bro, slugger, gone. I'm like, see there, told you.
So all right, so 2024, that last year, so that first game in Cincinnati where Lamar pulled it out, where he,
did that commercial
sideline and threw it and likely. Okay, so when y'all played him again the second game, I'm thinking, all right, Chase had outnumbered that game. There's no way he's doing that again, right? Like he's not going to do that again, right? That was like some fluke junk. He was just feeling it that day. The Ravens defense had a bad day. He's not coming into Baltimore at the bank and doing that. And then he just came into the bank and had 200 yards and started the game off with a slant for a touchdown.
I don't think you understand what I just said, bro. This man about to walk into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, him.
Bro got like 7,000 yards. He ain't played that long. So, nah, bro. I mean, like I said, it ain't even for a lack of trying. And like I said, a lot of that stuff, T. Higgins dealt with like hella injuries.
Right. He wouldn't even be there.
He'd be out there solo. Just, yeah, but no. Nah,
he wouldn't even be out there.
He a special dude. Like I said, he ain't even the most crisp route runner, right?
Yeah.
Holmes just, some folks just got it. Like I said, I've seen AB do some stuff. I've seen AJ Green do a little stuff. I've seen a little bit of everything, but nah, it ain't too many of them walking around, obviously. No. But nah, with him and Burrow, like I said, their chemistry going from college to where they just took off immediately. It's
I think I agree with you guys, man. I mean, their defensive upgrades. If these guys play well, getting Dexter Lawrence in the middle of that defense, drafting Cassius Howell in the second round. They added Brian Cook from the Chiefs for the safety position. I think that's an upgrade over Geno Stone. And then obviously DJ Turner upped his game last year. He had a big season last year. He went from being benched to like I think Pro Bowler or something like that, All Pro last year. So they made some really smart moves this offseason, and if they all pan out, that defense should be much improved, and we know what that offense is going to do. So that's the biggest threat, in my opinion, to the Ravens. I'm not really worried about Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers. I'm not really tripping on the Browns. They got to figure their quarterback situation out. That Bengals, though, that's a balanced breakfast right there. They fully loaded. If they stay healthy, if Joe Burrow plays the full season, they're going to be a problem, and the division is going to come down between those two teams. So, Coach, I'm back to you. Beyond the division, what team in the AFC is the biggest threat to the Ravens getting to the Super Bowl?
Got to be the Bills. Got to be the Bills.
Not the Chiefs?
Nah, because if we play the Chiefs, when will we play them? You know what I'm saying? Because I don't think they're on the regular season schedule.
No, but divisional round, AFC Championship game, maybe.
Yeah. I can see that, but again, the Bills have had our numbers. When we went to play them, just like the Chiefs was. So I feel like, hey, that game we played them in the regular season, we can't overlook that. We can't say, hey, it's just a regular season game, because that could be the difference between the 1 seed. If we thinking things go the way they're going. And I just feel like if you drop that game, now we're sitting saying, hey, that's the difference of going to Buffalo in January or hosting the game in Baltimore. So I just feel like, hey, that particular team, we got to right our wrongs. We have to, because that was it 2024 when we was up on them like by 15 points or something, and then we squandered the lead away. Again, we owe them. We owe them, and I just felt like, look, that should be a statement game. We should be trying to make a statement that particular game. The other part with the Chiefs, right, is the Chiefs got a lot of things that they gotta, get right, because they lost some of their run game, they lost some of their defensive guys, and I got it. They are the Chiefs, but then at the same time, like, how many times can the Chiefs continue to replicate the output they've been doing offensively and defensively year in and year out with new pieces, right? And I think the loss of Leo Chenal, I think that's going to be a bigger loss than people think. But now, if you told me you're going to get rid of Leo Chenal and you're going to bring in Peter Woods, I don't know. I'll be like, so, and then again, it's like, all right, what does that look like? Because now we're sitting there saying, hey, they can get home with four guys consistently. Again, what that looks like when it comes down to the secondary guys that they replaced. Because if we know, if you give Spags, good D lineman, he'll make everything else work.
Mike, how big is that mental hurdle? Having to go against a team in the playoffs that you've traditionally struggled against, over the past recent years. Like if they had to see the Bills or they had to see the Chiefs, two teams that they just haven't consistently beaten, especially when it counts. How big of a mental hurdle is that for them? Because they don't only have to play the team that day, they also playing the past almost like, okay, how do we prevent from all the times is this has gone wrong every other time? How do we prevent that from happening again?
I think it plays a bigger factor than we would all like to admit. Just from the standpoint of in the pros, bro, it's all about confidence, right? So even the game we lost, the AFC Championship game at home, like had we probably played, and I don't think we played a bad game that day. Right. But had we played any other random team, if that had been the Broncos, something like that,
you would have beat them. Yeah,
we would have beat the brakes off them folks. But like I said,
you got to play your A game. Yeah,
right. Like I said, we throughout that whole back end of the season when we hadn't lost any games and all that stuff, our confidence level was so high versus. When Andy Reid and them roll up in there, it's not that you doubt yourself. It's just like that confidence kind of.
It's not the same. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, dang, all right, if we don't know nothing else, it's about to be a dog fight. Not.
Yeah. This ain't gonna be easy.
You can feel like that might be the case against anybody else, but at the same time, in your irrational thoughts, you're like, all right, we just about to whoop these folks. They can have the best player on the earth, but had we not had those prior letdowns and those, I guess we just lost the Chiefs so many times.
Yeah,
it doesn't count.
It becomes a mental thing.
Like I said, it becomes like I said, even if nobody's scared, you know how they play, you know who they are. It's just more so. It don't matter what kind of emotional wave and confidence you have. It all kind of just levels out, and that evens the playing field, right? And that's what your home field advantage is supposed to be for, right? You at home, you all the fans, but it's just a different feel when those teams that you unfortunately lost to quite amount of times come in, and it kind of just evens those things out, right? So, I think that definitely plays a role. Like I said, for me with Kansas City, I'd like to see how Pat comes back off this ACL. I don't know like I said, he very well should just come back and play, the way we're accustomed to him playing, but. Sometimes those things don't go as well as you think. And, those cut downs on practice time and all those things that we talked about with Lamar having rhythm and all that stuff. I'm sure their system is the same, obviously, with Coach Reid there. But, I'd just be interested to see how his body holds up, how he plays. And does some of those scramble plays, those big plays that he's been known for making, do those things go away? So, you'd have to say the Bills. Like I said, I don't want to go up there in that new Highmark Stadium, even though it looks real nice and whatnot. Like I said, Josh Allen, I think he's been, criminally underrated just because outside of Diggs, he hadn't had a big-time number one receiver either. I know Lamar, they said Lamar hasn't, but like I said, I'm a believer in Zay. But outside of Diggs, I don't think he's had nobody got a Jamar Chase level kind of receiver, but he's done a lot with, less for, I should say. So it'd probably be the Bills.
Yeah.
And one other place that's a little off the radar. If the Broncos defense is good as it was, or decently as it was last year, that'd be a tough place to play to.
In Denver, Mile High. Yeah, Mile High is always a tough, difficult place to go. You're playing against the altitude. You're playing against the Broncos.
Coach, you need to be in the building. No, matter of fact, my best friend lives there. So if we happen to go to Denver, I'm pulling up for that one too.
Hey, I was about to say, if that happens, I'm there.
Hey, Colorado not that far from me now. I might have to meet y'all out there, man. Come on, man.
It's far from me, but I'll be.
We invading Mile High, man.
Hey, for real.
We just don't need to get whooped like them damn them Spurs fans in New York.
Hey, man, that'll be.
Look, I'm gonna be like old boy that had the Rodman jersey on. He was like.
He handled some business. I'm just gonna have.
Oh yeah, he handled some business. He was out there.
No Ravens monitor. It's gonna be under my coat because it's gonna be. But it ain't gonna be no visible signs out there. I ain't getting jumped by 40 dang.
Right, 40,000 people all coming after you.
Especially if we smack them. That's
I
gonna be a
don't care how
problem.
good you can fight. You ain't beating 40,000 people.
Man, look
Hey, look, hey, I'm gonna do like they used to do in the old days. If we smacking them at the end of the third quarter, I'm leaving.
You gotta go home early. Yeah.
We gonna watch the rest of
Hey, hit him with the man. Listen, you guys had a great season. Y'all have a blessed one.
Worst case scenario, I'm gonna have to pull a few strings. We're gonna have to leave on the team bus and get dropped off down the road.
Hey, Coach, to end it all, man, what's the odds of this? You see this picture right here? What's the odds of this being the Final Four this year? Can we see that?
Yeah.
That Texans defense is for real. They are for real. And they picked up that kid from Ohio State.
I can see that. McDonald?
Yeah, they picked up McDonald in the draft. That was crazy. They got him in the second round. And you add him to that defense they already got.
Remember when we did our mocks, and I told everybody, I said, look, this is video game stuff, but this happens in real life. This is unfair.
Caden McDonald on the Texans defense is nasty.
If I'm a D-line coach, I'm just like, look, y'all just handle y'all business.
Just go hunt. That's it.
For real.
I ain't got nothing to say. Y'all already know what time it is. It ain't too many words. What Mike say? Hey, we ain't got a lot to say.
Yes,
fast, physical, and violent.
Fast, physical, and violent. Ain't not to say.
I would like to say yes, but I'm gonna sit here and I'm hesitant because we've seen one of these quarterbacks not play complimentary football in the playoffs.
Okay, so if this isn't the Final Four, which team is less likely to be in the Final Four? Which one of these four teams is less likely?
Less likely? Because I'm gonna say the Texans.
It's all about 7.
Because if he is
CJ,
because as good as that defense is, right? All I need you to do, bro, is just go sustain the drive and get past midfield and get 3 points. We would be fine, right? But it took a Herculean effort from the defense, and then what's his name? Them just basically shut down, and that right there, I knew right then and there, hey, look, they may be in trouble because if he does that and the other team is able to score, now we're talking the Texans getting blown out.
Yeah.
So it's to the point to where like, hey, he couldn't hold on to the ball. Like that's an issue. And this is not like this is a 1 or 2 year play, a second year player. Like you've had some success. You've seen what success looked like. You got a taste of it, right? In fact, I think he had a 4,000 yard season. So at some point, it's like, all right, bro, you have to now elevate with the team. You got to elevate with the team. And nobody's sitting there saying, hey, look, you need to go Joe Flacco 2013 Super Bowl run. Nobody's sitting there saying that. What I'm sitting there saying is, hey, look, man, I can put the ball in the places that need to be put in. I can keep the ball out of harm's way. I can go out, and if I need to scramble and run a couple of plays to take the pressure off my run game, whatever it may be, to say, hey, look, I'm in command and control of this offense. So when adversity strikes, I'm ready to do what I got to do to get past it. All right. And I just don't see that with him right now. Now, who knows? He may look at that tape every night when he go home. And he may say, hey, you know what? This right here can't happen again. This right here can't happen again. And I feel like if that happens, yes, I can see this as the Final Four. I can see that at the Final Four. But until then, if there's a team that I'm least confident in, it's because of him, right? And then the other part to this is David Montgomery. What does that look like? Are you going to give him a Joe Mixon type of payload? Or are you going to say, hey, look, man, David Montgomery, go win us the game. Our defense got you the ball 3 times, go win us the game. Oh, yeah, you got Woody Marks here. You guys together, I need you guys to close it out for us. If they get in the habit of doing that, we know if you got a good defense and you can run the ball, we know that complements each other really well, and you should be able to do some damage when it comes down to your season.
Hey, he is getting Tank Dell back this year. I think that's going to be big. I mean, if he can stay healthy, you know, Tank Dell and CJ have really good chemistry, you know, and so we'll see.
I did like how they implemented Jaden Higgins later on in the season. So that was good to see. So now, again, with Tank Dell coming back, now we're talking complementary pieces all around.
Nico Collins still there.
Absolutely.
Jay Higgins. You got the other kid was Noah.
Jalen Noah from Iowa State. Yep.
Yeah, Jalen Noel. So I mean,
All
they
right, I
got
got
some
an
weapons.
unpopular opinion. Why y'all listing all these damn people?
All right.
If y'all put Josh Allen on the Texans, they gonna be Super Bowl favorites.
That's true.
Facts.
That's how much this season depends
on CJ Stroud.
on this young bull.
Yeah.
If you put any other one of these quarterbacks over here on that roster, 99% of the folks will say I could see them winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah, because they got a Super Bowl defense ready to go.
They play indoors.
Yes.
And they got 2 premium pass rushers that look like a track team out there.
Yeah. And then they got
a home game in Houston. That stadium be loud, bro. People don't really, people gas New Orleans when they was 5. They stadium when they nice be loud. So
this is a big year for CJ, man.
I said that on the last pod, bro.
Yeah.
They whole season hinges upon him being who I thought he was when he was a rookie, and what he was drafted to be. Right,
5th-year option.
Holmes got the talent.
This is 5th-year option.
It's It's time to go.
I was going to ask about his contract. What's his contract look like?
This is 5th-year option. So I think they just picked up this 5th-year option. So they haven't extended him yet, which tells you a lot. They probably want to see the result of this year before they make that, big, commitment.
This is for the money, and they didn't put, and they're gonna have less cap flexibility going into the future. Yep. So if there ever was a time, obviously we need to be our time. Like I said, I didn't. Obviously,
right.
Fans,
but for him though,
for him personally and their organization, if there ever was a time for you to break through and prove you are who they expect you to be down there, this would be the time. Now, I wouldn't mind it, like I said, personally, if you don't do that against us, but you know what I mean? So, we wouldn't mind at all, but this is a pivotal year for him. But
hey, real quick, Mike, I want you to finish
all those other guys.
I want you to finish it off, Mike. Do you think the Chiefs are going to be back this year to what they usually are?
Who do they have at receiver? I know Rashee Rice stay in trouble.
Yeah, he just got out of jail.
So I don't know. And I think just
they got Worthy.
I think he can take a jump this year. But when Tyreek Hill left the offense, bro, I know they won the championship. But that just level of elusiveness that unlocked for Pat on them same, we talked about Zay and Lamar and likely on them scramble type drills and them off schedule plays, that those Jamar Chase type plays where those super long unexpected touchdowns happen, where you just running a 10-yard or a shallow and then go to the crib. And they had Mecole Hardman and all them people, all that speed out there. They were successful, obviously, because they got great players. But like I said, that level of explosiveness that they're still a great team, obviously. You just don't feel it, right?
Right.
So with him,
what about Kenneth Walker going over there now, giving them a legit run game now?
Now I think that'll be a big plus for them, just because they hadn't had a premium back there, really ever, right?
Ever since not since Mahomes been there,
and then he got in trouble and he kind of got out of there. So they hadn't had a premium back ever, really, but. Like I said, I think also still to utilize to get the most out of Pat, you need those the capability of those explosive plays. Yeah. Rashee Rice is more of in line with your standard, obviously receiver one type situations. But like I said, I don't think nobody's picking them to win the Super Bowl, which they very well could. But like I said, I think Travis Kelce, obviously he's on his way, towards the door. But I don't think people fear those explosive plays from KC. No, unless they just have those hellacious. They just turn into a hellacious running team, and then they pick and choose the shots, which they could. They got a good O-line, but I don't think they haven't been really able to unlock Pat like they used to have the capability of doing. Yeah. So I would be more nerve-wracking if number 7 up top gets his act together and he start throwing bombs all over the place with Tank and Nico and all that, I would be more worried about them than the Chiefs. That may sound crazy to some people, but yeah, I think Houston would be a bigger adversary if they get premium quarterback play this year.
Agree. You agree, Coach?
Yeah, most definitely. I just think, again, we've seen too many times the Chiefs squeezing something out of multiple moving pieces. I just don't see them continue to do that. Right? Like they lost key pieces on their defense in the secondary and on the D-line. And then to bring in Kenneth Walker, like, what is that going to look like? Are we going to commit to him? You know what I'm saying? Because like if we're sitting there saying low 200 carries for him for the season, I don't think that's a full committal, to him, right? And again, what does that look like? Because with all that speed, you want to kind of maximize that speed, but then at the same time, you don't want to just diminish this premier back that we got, who, by the way, is a Super Bowl MVP. so it's like, do you want to put him kind of on the shelf and say, all right, man, we roll with what we got, and then we'll go from there? Or do you say, hey, look, we got two different game plans every week that we want to try and execute? One with the run game highlighted, one with our passing abilities, that we move people around a lot and so forth. So at the end of the day, I would like to see what that looks like, because as crazy as it sounds, their 12 and 13 package or 13 personnel package, they got a viable run threat now. So now it's no more of Noah Gray and Travis Kelce, craziness going on. It's like, hey, look, we come here to bludgeon you. We got a run game that we can do it with, and then, by the way, we can play action off of this thing and have Travis Kelce running up the seams again. So,
all right, well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Our thoughts about OTAs, biggest threats to the Ravens in the conference and in the division, and other various talking points. If you watched the show today for the first time, please drop a subscribe for us, share the podcast, tell your friends, and man, this is a great show, and we'll continue to bring it to you every week. Until next time, we thank you. Peace out.
Ladies and gentlemen, and friends, the Baltimore Ravens.
Johnny Unitas needs 17 more to break Kittle's record as the all-time passer in the National Football League.
We all know that Lamar Jackson has serious star power. The Ravens have the best record in the league. He has a top selling.
Zappi. Oh, big foul touchdown. My goodness. Michael Pierce.
The Baltimore Ravens select Lamar Jackson.
Wow. This is the instincts. The God-given gives the awareness to go beat him to the punt.